So CTE is a common table expression. A difference between a CTE and a view is simple. A CTE is something which is a temporary table. It is something that does not exist at all. It is limited to the scope of that query only. So if I write this query, the syntax for writing a CTE is we start with with, we give the name to the CTE table. You can give any name what you like. We then put another keyword as we put another keyword as. We start with parenthesis and write our query over here. Close it with parenthesis. This is how a CTE is created, but a CTE won't exist without a query. A CTE won't work without a query. So I write a query giving it as select star from the name of the CTE so that I get the information what my CTE is providing me. So this is how this query will run within the CTE. Now, if I write this query independently without running the CTE, without running this part of the query, if I run only the query, it will give me an error saying that CTE underscore emp does not exist. I'll show you. So CTE underscore emp does not exist. Over here at the bottom you can see CTE underscore emp does not exist. So that's what a CTE does. Its scope is limited to that set of the query only, and CTE is a temporary table. It doesn't require any memory, any space in your database, any space on your system or on your hard drive, nowhere. Now, another importance of CTE is you can use joins in a CTE, you can join multiple CTEs, you can create multiple CTEs in a single go. How that works? Let us run this query. So I'm putting a join over here in this query and I'm creating it as a CTE. And when I'm running the query, this query is giving me the result. So the importance of CTE is when I don't want to repeatedly use the queries over and over again in my entire set of coding, I can create a CTE and use that CTE later on wherever I want to use. But it should be along with the CTE. I have to use this part of the code always if I need to run the CTE, because again its scope is limited to only that set of query. Then, before we go to view, I had something that I shared yesterday where I can connect two CTEs. Yeah. So over here, this is the same set of expression that I just ran with a join query. Now, I'm using this as another CTE. I created another CTE. So how to do that? You have to put a comma, give a name of second CTE table, and again put a keyword as in it. Start with parenthesis, write your query, and close it. Now, when you are running, select star from CTE1. It will give me the result that is obtained from CTE1 only. So it will give me select star from M. But if I want to, I can put a join on this query and this query. How that works? I can join it with emp underscore CTE. So this is my CTE1 which I have already created. This is another CTE that I have created within the same segment. It's a nested CTE. I'm putting a join over it. Let's say I name it as B and I name it as A. So on B dot department number is equal to A dot department number. Sorry. Over here, it generally throws an error when I have multiple columns. It gives me result only of a single column. So if I run this query like this, I would probably get an error. Let's check it out. No, it's giving me the output because we have only single names for everything, and I'm putting a join on the two CTs, so it is giving me up till here. If you see, uh, up till last name, emp id, emp name, address, designation, department number, last name. This is giving me information from the employee table, and now emp id, emp name, department number. This is what my first CTE query requires: emp id, emp name, department name, and department number. So these are from the first CTE, and this is from the second CTE. So this is how you can put join on two CTEs as well in a single set of query and get your results going. Now, again, remember, it's a temporary table. If you, whatever you do over here won't affect your primary table or won't affect your existing table that is present in the database. Now comes views. Views are a little bit different from what CTE is. CTE is common table expression. So view is something where you create a specific a new table. It takes space in the database, it takes space in your hard drive. So I can create a view of my table, give only specific columns to the table, and give that view name to any of the employees so that he has limited access to the table. He doesn't have access to the entire table. For example, if I want Abhishek to work on a small piece of data from a set of like 200 columns, I just want him to work only on 10 columns in that table. I don't want him to work on the remaining 190 columns that are present in that set of 200 columns in a particular table. So I can create a view of 10 columns and give that name, a view name to Abhishek, that okay Abhishek, you work on this thing, do these changes and come back with the results. So in that way I can control the access on my table, I can control the integrity of my table, mentioning that my other columns doesn't get affected, only a specific set of columns on which I need operations to be done are affected. And it also helps in controlling which employee has which tasks, which employee is given which task to work on. So that way we can divide a table into different segments and ask people or employees to work on specific segments of the table. So again, it is not a temporary table. It takes memory in the database, it takes memory on a hard drive. So be careful whenever you are creating a view or something, it would take memory on your system. And whatever changes that you make in a view gets reflected in your primary table as well. Whereas in a CTE, if you make any changes, if you make any update or any alteration in your CTE, it won't affect your primary table which is present already in the database. So be careful when you are working in views. Make sure that you are very much careful about making any updates or any alterations in the table, because if any change is made in a view, gets reflected in your main table in the database. So now, how we create a view. I'm going a little fast because we have already covered this yesterday, so I don't want you to lose on what we are going to cover today. So I'll take like 3 more minutes. It's 3:12 till 3:15 I'll wrap this up. Now, how we create a view. View, the syntax for creating a view is again just like we create a table. We write create view, we give a name to the view, just like we write create table to create a table, we write create view to create a view, we give a name to the view, then as, just like we do in CTE. We start with parenthesis, provide the query on which part of data that we want from the table, and then close it. Similarly, I have created over here, like I'm taking employee ID, employee name, department name and department number. In the second view, I am taking employee ID, department name and department number. In the third one, I am just taking the department name and the department number with a condition on a where clause. So I'm running all these three views and I'll show you how the views are created. So I ran all these views. These views are already present. It mentions these are already present in the table because we already ran it. And over here on the left hand side, so training is my database. Tables and views are what are present in my training database. So these are the set of tables that are present in my database. These are the set of views, view 1, view 2, view 3 that are present in my database. Just have a look at these things, what are present on the left hand side pane where my cursor is moving. So I already have these views in my database. Now when I do select star from view 1, so it gives me this result, which is exactly same what this query would be doing, right? But I have a liberty to divide my data into different segments and ask specific employees, specific volunteers or colleagues to work on only that limited set of data. That's why views come into picture. That's why we use views. So views work in that way. Now, this is what I have in my view 2 and view 3. This is view 2, this is view 3. I'll show you view 1 as well. Select star from view 1. Sorry. Okay. When we run these three, we get the results over here. This is view 1 output. I have 4 columns over here. View 2, I have 3 columns over here. View 3, I have only 2 columns over here. So in that way, I can work on giving a better understanding. I can myself have a control over my data. If me being the team leader or the team manager, I can divide the task among my team and ask them to work only on specific set of data, and later I can review that data. I can check out how my primary table looks like, how it works. So that's how views work like. If I make any updates in the view, so all these updates would be reflected in my main table as well. Select star from, sorry, I am changing the department name, so it would be department. Sorry. So I have the data as HR. So let me change where department number is equal to, let's say, 1. So when I run this, sorry, this one, I have HR over here, I have HR over here. So that's how it works like. It works out. Now, sorry, I can do this way. I can check out my employee table as well. So over here, I have more people would be working in the HR department with number 2 rather than number 1. That's how any update that I make to the view gets changed in the main data frame, in the main data table as well.